And we end our look at Street Fighter 2 with 2 more versions in this video, starting with the final arcade iteration, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, released half a year after Super. This game balances things even more and once again increases the speed. There are actually 4 speeds available, but I played the entire game on the fastest setting. This game also adds super combos, which can only be done when a super bar is filled. As for aesthetics, the game uses the same soundtrack as Super Street Fighter 2, but the familiar character select theme has been replaced with an arrangement of the first 3 versions of SF2's title theme. It's something that always feels wrong. There's also another change to the HUD, adding character portraits beneath the life bars. But let's get into what each character gained. Ryu's super combo is the Shinku Hadoken, done by doing 2 quarter circles forward and punch. I haven't spoken much about command normals before, but this game adds his solar plexus punch when pressing forward and medium or high punch. It really threw me off thanks to muscle memory from the previous 4 versions, which combined with its shorter range caused me some problems. This is the game that started Ken's association with kicks, adding his Kama Barai Geki with quarter circle forward and kick, his Nata Atoshi Geri with quarter circle forward to down and kick, the Osoto Mawashi Geri with half circle back and kick, and the Inazumo Kakoto Wari by holding kick during any of those moves. His super combo is the Shoryu Reppa with quarter circle forward, down to down forward and punch. This is where Ken really starts coming into his own as a flashier alternative to Ryu's moveset. It's easy to see why many would like him more. Honda gains the Oicho Nage with half circle back and punch. Chun-Li is made much more enjoyable with one simple change. Her spinning bird kick now uses a charge back forward rather than charge down up. It can also be done in the air now too. The old input is now used for her Tensho Kyak. Her super combo is the Senretsu Kyak with charge back, forward and kick. You thought I struggled with regular charge inputs? The ones for super combos are just dicks. Blanca's super combo is ground shave rolling with charge back, forward and punch. Punch can also be held to delay the release of the attack. Zangief finally gains a way to deal with projectiles with his banishing flat with quarter circle forward to down and punch. His super combo is Final Atomic Buster with 2 circles and punch. Guess how often I pulled this off. Guile's super combo is the double flash kick with charge down and back, then back and diagonally up, basically a triangle. And guess how often I managed to pull off these triangle inputs. He also gained a notable command normal for me, the rolling sobat with forward and medium kick. This is important because it destroyed the AI most of the time, which is a godsend with this game's AI especially. Dalsim gains Yoga Blast with half circle forward and kick, and his super combo is Yoga Inferno with 2 half circles forward and punch. T-Hawk's super combo is Double Typhoon with double circle and punch. If a move is clearly done in practice mode, it's because I simply couldn't pull it off in single player with the game's bastard AI breathing down my neck. Kami's Axel Spin Knuckle is changed to back, forward and punch. She then gains the Hooligan combination with down back, quarter circle forward, kick and punch. This move has 3 outcomes depending on the button you press after. Razor Edge Slicer if you press nothing, Fatal Leg Twister when pressing forward and kick near the opponent's head, and Cross Scissor Pressure by doing the same near the opponent's body. I simply could not pull those last 2 off no matter how hard I tried. Her super combo is Spin Drive Smasher with quarter circle forward and kick. Fei Long gains his Reku Kyak with down back, quarter circle forward and kick. Then there's his super combo, Rekka Shinken with double quarter circle forward and punch. DJ gets his Jackknife Maximum with charge down up and kick, and his super combo, Sobat Carnival with charge back, forward and kick. Balrog gains Dash Ground Straight with charge back, down forward and punch, and Dash Ground Upper with charge back, down forward and kick. His super combo is Crazy Buffalo with charge back, forward and punch or kick. Vega gains Scarlet Terror with charge down back, forward and kick. His super combo is Rolling Izuna Drop with the same bastard input as Guile's. Sagat gains Tiger Genocide with quarter circle forward and punch. Finally, Bison gains Knee Press Nightmare with charge back, forward and kick. So that's another 16 arcade playthroughs to do, and these ones were the worst by far. First off, the minigames were removed so things go a little quicker, but the AI in this game is one of the worst I've ever dealt with. I normally play fighting games on their default difficulty settings, which is also the case for every fighting game I've recorded so far, unlocking Heihachi and Tekken 1 aside. But this time I had to lower the difficulty level to 1 to make just getting this video done feasible, and it was still harder than any other version on default. Every video before this I've spoken about the AI bastards, certain characters that I dread fighting every time. In Super Turbo, that's everyone. Perfect reactions, impossible instant charge inputs, button reading, that's all still there, but they're even better. Worst is those characters like Zangief or Blanca who have a grab with a repeated attack. They can grab you and pummel away 90% of your health in one and there's nothing you can do about it. Can you do that to the AI? Guess. This made doing 16 more playthroughs an absolute nightmare. There were days where I was only getting 1 or 2 playthroughs done in a single day because I would be left so drained by the time I was done. You can't play well against this AI, and you can't learn how to play well against it. After fighting so long trying to exploit what I could with the AI, I think I'm honestly worse at Street Fighter now after all this. This is up there with arcade Mortal Kombat 2 and Art of Fighting 2 for hardest AI I've dealt with. But I still did it. "64 playthroughs done. Every character gains a new image after their ending to show how their life goes on. Ryu is seen still getting into fights, clashing with someone who looks a little like Birdie from the first game. Ken is seen being forced out shopping with Eliza. Honda is destroying his own dojo with his weight. Chun-Li hangs out with friends. Blanca is freaking people out in public. Zangief checks himself out in the mirror, destroying everything around himself. Guile visits Charlie's grave. Dhalsim can now be seen with his wife in his ending, and he uses his stretchy arms to save a drowning child. T-Hawk spends time with some birds. Cammy pets a cat in London. Fei Long is seen on the set of his next film. DJ relaxes while listening to music. Balrog gets back to training, obliterating his punching bags. Vega just hangs out at home. Sagat gets back to training. Finally, Bison gloats with a glowing ball on his throne. But I'm not done yet, am I? I have another 16 playthroughs to do. You see, you can also play as the Super Street Fighter 2 versions of each character, with their moveset unchanged from the previous version, complete with the new moves and super combos removed. To do this, I must select that character with Light Punch, input a little code, then press Light Punch again. If I confirm the code with both Light Punch and Light Kick, it gives me an alternate colour. For Ryu, the code is left 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 right. I prefer Classic Ryu just for his command normal not being there. Classic Ken's code is right 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 left. Classic Honda's is up 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 down. Classic Chun-Li's is down 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 up. This means I had to deal with that harder spinning bird kick input again. Classic Blanca's is right left left left. Classic Zangief's is left right right right. Classic Guile's is up down down down. Classic Guile was the worst thanks to losing the rolling sub-art, so my best way to deal with the AI was gone. Classic Dhalsim is down up up up. Classic T-Hawk is right right left left. Classic Cammy is up up down down. Classic Fei Long is left left right right. Classic DJ is down down up up. Classic Balrog is right left left right. Classic Vega is left right right left. Classic Sagat is up down down up. Apparently Classic Sagat is insanely good, but even if I was good at this game, I'd never know against the AI. Finally, Classic Bison is down up up down. This is a really cool addition. Some characters with their new normals and changed inputs do play differently than they did in Super, so if you preferred a classic moveset like I did with Views, you can still enjoy that version of the character you preferred. This did mean that my workload was doubled. I had an extra 16 playthroughs to do. Still did it. "80 playthroughs altogether. But I'm still not done, am I? As a response to all rumours of a secret character named Shenlong, thanks to a mistranslation of Shoryuken in Ryu's victory quote, they finally added a secret character in this game. To fight this character I have to reach Bison having lost no more than 3 rounds, using no continues and getting at least 3 perfects. Against this AI? No thanks. There is a way to cheese this though. I can have a second player constantly interrupt the arcade playthrough, choose the character I'm fighting, and defeat them. This counts as defeating them in arcade mode and moves me to the next opponent. When I reach Bison, before the round starts, he's ambushed by Akuma, who just kills him dead right there and fights me instead. I'll talk about him as a boss in a bit, but first, to play as Akuma myself, this is a pain. On the character select I had to leave the cursor on Ryu for 3 seconds and repeat this on T-Hawk, Guile, Cammy and Ryu again. I then have to press all 3 punch buttons and start to select Akuma. This is incredibly finicky, so when I finally did it, for this run only, I save stated after every fight so I didn't have to input the code again when I lost. This came back to bite me. Akuma is hinted at in Bison's ending in this game and the previous version, called an Ancient One. In reality, Bison's entire tournament has the secondary goal of luring Akuma to him, but Akuma is just too much for him. I'll get into Akuma's story in his next appearance, as very little is told about him here. He's simply known as a mysterious Master of the Fist. He is another variation of Ryu's moveset, but even more different than Ken. He has the Go Hadouken with quarter circle forward and punch. This can also be done in the air. The Zanku Hadouken is fired diagonally down. It also shows that Akuma is so skilled he can throw Hadoukens one-handed. He can also do the Shakunetsu Hadouken with half circle forward and punch. His Go Shoryuken with a forward Z input and punch hits multiple times. His Tatsumaki Zanku Kyak with quarter circle forward back and kick can juggle the opponent. He can also use it in the air. He also has his own teleport, the Ashura Senku, with a Z input in the direction you want and all 3 punches or kicks. I never pulled this one off. Because he's so strong, he doesn't have a super combo. Akuma is my favourite of these Shoto clones as they're commonly known. For one, he's another great example of how reusing the same base moveset and making some changes can create an entirely different personality and style. He's also just really cool. That spiky fiery red hair with the top knot, the strange leathery look to his features, those winning poses, especially the one where he quakes in place due to his own strength. Not to mention his story and personality, but I'll be covering those in later games. Side note, if Akuma was created today, people would be quick to look down on him and use the now overused edgelord comment. I myself was guilty of using this term on things for a while, but I've really grown to hate it. Thanks to escalation, we now have people rejecting anything more menacing than, say, Kirby as just being edgy, grimdark, whatever. While it was annoying when media started to over-focus on that kind of aesthetic, some people have gone too far in the other direction and decided that rejecting anything out of the age 3 and up demographic is the true sign of maturity. Not to shit on people's taste, but I could have easily ended up going that direction myself at one point, and that's not the answer. Tangent aside, Akuma is really fun, even if I got utterly destroyed by the AI most of the time. Whenever I play a Street Fighter game with him in it by default, I tend to get used to it by picking him because no matter the game, he's always a blast to play as. He doesn't get a stage, but he does get his own theme music. I like Akuma's theme in general, but I'm not fond of this original version. It feels incomplete compared to later versions I've heard. So remember how I said that using save states to avoid having to repeat the code came back to bite me? Well, since I wasn't having the losses recorded, it meant I had to face Akuma himself at the end. This took a couple hours. The boss version of Akuma, later expanded into Shin Akuma, is even more powered up compared to the playable version. Everything's better, attack speed, strength, and he can throw 2 Zanku Hadoukens at once. So I have a cheating AI using a powered up version of the character who's already so powerful normally that he's banned in competitive play. This was a slog. Sometimes I'd be lucky to get a single win in, but he'd destroy me the other 2 rounds. It's not like I could let myself lose and try the code again, since now I've reached this fight I'm locked into fighting Akuma. And I was not going to repeat the last 3 hours of play just so I could fight Bison instead. But eventually... the relief I felt when that was over. 81 playthroughs. I'd been playing this collection so long that it had taken me 95 hours to complete all 5 of these games. Akuma finishes off his doppelganger and I get the credits, showing the defeated mugshots of every character. Despite the stress with the AI, I can see why so many still love Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo so much to this day. It definitely is the best of the arcade iterations even to a garbage player like myself. But it's not my favourite Street Fighter. I am a little spoiled by some later games I guess, and I suppose if I was a competitive player this game would be ranked even higher than it is now. But it's still ranked pretty high, and even I myself was worried it might be too low. But as I've said before, this is not an objective ranking, this is purely my own taste based on my own experience. There are 4 other updated releases of this game I want to cover though. I'll come back to them after I've done the Alpha games and SNK vs Capcom SVC Chaos due to things they retroactively added from those games. At this point though, I was a little burned out on Street Fighter 2 and glad to be leaving it behind for a while. But there was still one more quick version to do. This was how I spent my New Year's Eve. Street Fighter 2 on the Game Boy was released quite a bit later than Super Turbo, after the first Alpha game even. This game is mostly an adaptation of Champion Edition, but it uses the character portraits and endings from Super. No characters from Super though. There's 9 characters: Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Guile, Zangief, Blanca, Balrog, Sagat and Bison. Honda, Dhalsim and Vega couldn't make it. I can guess with Dhalsim they couldn't fit his long-limbed sprites in. I guess Honda was seen as expendable and Vega was just unlucky. This does mean that we have the same ratio of regular characters to bosses though, with 3 of 9 still being a third. As you'd expect, graphics took a big hit, but everything still looks quite faithful. They crammed in every sprite they would need for everything to make sense. The stage has also managed to contain everything they need to still be recognisable. The game's soundtrack also made the transition to 8-bit very well. A lot of other 8-bit ports just wouldn't care and the soundtrack would be vandalised, but not here. As for gameplay, we have only 2 buttons and not a lot of data, so movesets had to be shrunk down. But it still works well. I'm honestly impressed. It's not too slow, there's no dodgy hit detection, the special moves are all responsive. This is the best we could possibly ask for given the situation. They even added a survival mode. All that's left is to beat the game again as every character. And that's 90 playthroughs of Street Fighter 2 altogether. Endings were shrunk down to just one picture, but it's still good they even fit one in for all 9 characters. Street Fighter 2 isn't amazing on the Game Boy or anything, and with every arcade release being so readily available today, there's no real reason to go back to it aside from curiosity. It's not great or anything, but compared to a lot of other Game Boy fighting game ports, including one in this very episode, it could have gone far worse. That's right, there's still more to episode 15, we're only halfway through. Considering what I'm doing after this episode, I wanted to clean up some loose ends, so we have 4 more videos covering parts of games I've already done videos on and wanted to do in those videos but didn't have access to them at the time. Beforehand I didn't know when I was going to do these parts, but this is a good time.